Hey, have you ever wanted to ask God why he made us the way he did, but instead chose to bite your tongue? Then you realize biting your tongue is one of those weird things God made. Does thinking that make me a heretic? Come on in. Hey folks, it's God's Comic Brad Stine, and after many years as a Christian comedian, I've often been asked if I thought God had a sense of humor. Well, here are a couple examples where I would vote for the affirmative. In all my many years on earth, I can't begin to count the times I've bitten my tongue. Now, everyone has experienced this annoyance, and every time I do it makes me wonder if this is one of those God practical jokes that he has thrown around. Being God and all-powerful, when you finally get around to creating worshipers, it probably makes sense to make them somewhat entertaining. Being omniscient, he also must have anticipated our rebellion, so he worked in the funny stuff as retribution for what was coming. Biting your tongue being one of these. Why? Because the reason we bite our tongue is because God designed it to be permanently fixed next to our teeth. You think he didn't see this catastrophe potential? Your tongue may be the softest item on your body, whose job it is to push food around in your mouth, all the while trying to avoid being chewed up by this constantly collapsing bear trap of a contraption built out of literally the hardest, sharpest thing in your body, your teeth. Teeth! Their only purpose? Cut, grind, chew, crush, mutilate food, which then gets reduced to the same texture as your tongue. Just as sharks are known for mistaking surfers for seals and consequently making meals of them, why would one expect our teeth to do anything less when it comes to tongue chewing? Heck, I have even bitten my own finger before while putting a morsel of food in my pie hole, which not only hurts, but couldn't possibly make you feel any more stupid. Another part of our body positioned for maximum hilarity from God's front row seat in our comedy of errors is our shins. Shins are also some of the most sensitive parts of our body, and thus we're conveniently positioned nice and low on our legs, technically referred to when translated from the Aramaic as coffee table height. Right in the front, mind you, for maximum damage opportunity. If God didn't want our shins to be painfully knocked about periodically by any and every protruding piece of furniture or random everything hard and invisible in the dark, he would have either A, placed our shins at thigh height so they'd rarely if ever be smashed, or B, armor-plate our shins with some kind of protective shield built from all the minerals he included in our human package. They say our body's full of iron. That would have been perfect. God must have foreseen much comedy potential in the leg area, since that's also what our toes inhabit. Toes are so good at smashing into things, especially in the dark, that they actually necessitated the invention of a word only used for toes. Stubbed. I stubbed my toe. Ever stubbed anything else on your body? No. Didn't think so. Oh, I stubbed my ear. Ooh, I stubbed my clavicle. See? Doesn't have a ring to it. Our thighs, though, higher up, as mentioned, are ripe for a Charlie horse, which is perfect for running out the leg as a human whoopee cushion for God's enjoyment. Of course, for men, God initiated a gender-specific laugh-getter known as the groin, which is where he may have stepped over the line, in my opinion. Yeah. Nothing like taking an organ from inside your body and hanging it on the outside to ensure a lot of potential yucks throughout the year. Lastly, there's the aptly named funny bone, which, when struck, is funny only for the observer as opposed to the receiver, who finds nothing funny about it whatsoever. The fact that it was named that shows that God had this planned all along to find much entertainment from his creation. Maybe it serves us right, after all, when we considered what he was forced to sacrifice on our behalf. And to be fair, he did invent gravity, so all of us can enjoy the pleasure of watching somebody else slip on the ice or fall through a drop ceiling, or best of all, something falls on their head, especially when they were being so careful to place it just right on the top shelf. I think there must be a lesson there, in that humans, for some reason, have a natural propensity to laugh at the accidental misfortune of others. Why, the Three Stooges made a career out of it, and where would cartoons be without the champion of futility, Wile E. Coyote? But maybe, just maybe, there's a deeper lesson here after all. After the umpteenth shin splat that you've endured and will experience in your life, after the turned ankle and walking into a low-hanging pipe, no matter how hard it hurts at the time, we do indeed get over it. That pain doesn't last forever. And in the end, and this is virtually every time you experience trauma, in the end, it always could have been worse. Every time I want to complain about a traffic jam or running late or an important meeting I'm missing or even burn the top of my mouth with some hot pizza, I always think about this. I really do. Somewhere in this town, there's a hospital where someone is staying after being told, you got 6 months to live. There's someone going through dialysis right now or chemo or a heart transplant. And suddenly, my little inconvenience, it's a reminder that, yeah, the world's filled with pain and sorrow, but instead of focusing on the pain of the moment, did I spend all the other far more pain-free moments that day thanking God for his grace? We're always Johnny on the spot questioning his providence when facing distress, but seems to ignore the far more often days of health and freedom and potential joy if we acknowledge it. You know, C.S. Lewis once stated so succinctly, pain is God's megaphone to the world. So next time an annoying, painful moment occurs, once the throbbing is settled down, maybe take a moment and say to God, thanks, Lord. Could have been worse. I could have stubbed my groin. This is God's Comic, Brad Stine. And remember, folks, PC free. That's liberty. Folks, if you have to stub your toe, stub it on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, Brad Stine Has Issues. How else are you going to keep growing in your intelligence if you don't subscribe?